Today, we're going to be flying on a Dash 8, an aircraft that was a major part of Bahamian history as it served as the backbone of Bahamas Air's fleet for decades. Bahamas Air retired their Dash 8s back in 2016. Now, local charter airline Trans Island Airways has brought it back as their flagship. Cut, wrong clip. I am so sorry the Dash 8 just came out of maintenance. It looks a little bit better than this. I am so sorry. Just give me a second. One second. There we go. In all likelihood, this Dash 8 is the only one of its kind to have the 16-seat business class setup. Now, we'll circle back to the seats once we're up in the air, but Trans Island Airways invited me on a test flight of their Dash 8. And I wanted to make sure that I got the most out of it, so I hooked this plane up as if it was on a hospital bed. I hope you guys enjoy the next few minutes of this takeoff, and I will catch up with you again once we're in the air, where I will show you a bit more about this seat and tell you a bit more about Trans Island Airways. So TIA is a very interesting airline as far as the general public is concerned because although they're actually the largest charter airline in the Bahamas, they're not really a household name like Bahamas Air or Western Air. But in the grand scheme of things, they prefer to keep it that way. They have a fleet of 2 Learjet 60s, 5 Cessna Caravan EXs, and the Dash 8 is their flagship. And although they had the Dash 8 for March of last year, they just recently got the entire cabin overhauled. So since this Dash 8 came to the Bahamas, there have been speculations as to what TIA was going to be using this Dash 8 for. There are many who actually assumed that TIA was going to be using this Dash 8 on domestic routes to compete directly with mainstream airlines like Bahamas Air and Western Air. But as you can see by now, commercial flying is still the furthest thing from TIA's mind. I was able to have a talk with the president of Trans Island Airways, who's actually an aviation enthusiast himself, and when asked as to why he chose to get the Dash 8, he said, and I quote, "Because I wanted a Dash." This is powerful. But I can't really complain about his answer because who doesn't love a Dash 8? And as far as charters, I think more people are going to be concerned about how comfortable they are instead of what type of plane they're flying on. Now, speaking of comfort, there's a lot of good things that I can say about this seat in general. Although there's a typical overhead compartment space that you would expect on a Dash 8, there's a lot of unexpected space built into the seat for personal storage as well. And there's also a lot of space in between the seats so you don't have to tear someone's head off for reclining in front of you. And if legroom real estate matters to you the most, I suggest that you go to the emergency exit row at the back of the plane, where you basically have your own lounge at that point. Now, I consider myself very fortunate to get to experience this Dash 8 firsthand, as this plane is going to be primarily used for charters. But for those who don't know, Trans Island Airways offers shuttle service between Jet Nassau in the Bahamas and Banyan at Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport using their Cessna Caravans. And when demand is high enough, they're considering substituting the Dash 8 on that route. And for those who are not familiar with shuttles in this context, you can basically consider it to be a passenger flight with the formalities of traveling private. Now, I did mention earlier that this was a test flight, so as we're coming back into land, the crew decided to use this as a good opportunity to test the capabilities of this plane. Because of the new configuration, the cool thing about this Dash 8 is that even with full fuel, cargo payload, and all passengers on board, this Dash 8 wouldn't be overweight. And that makes this Dash even more versatile since it should be able to get in and out of most runways in the Bahamas while still having the ability to travel long distances. I'll catch up with you again when we're on the ground. So here's the thing. When you think about the experience that this Dash 8 is supposed to offer, you can't find any other airline or aircraft locally that can compete. Although TIA isn't the only airline that offers dedicated private charters and shuttles, this Dash 8 alone provides twice the capacity that any local competition can currently offer. Now, although my enthusiasm towards this plane has a lot to do with the fact that it's a Dash 8, TIA has been known to me at least to offer a great passenger experience. I had the opportunity to experience this firsthand as well on one of their Caravan shuttles, and that trip report will come out at some point in the future. Don't press me on it. I really hope that you found this video interesting. Be sure to check out TIA for yourself, and I think this is a good spot to wrap up the video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.